Hi, welcome back to my High Plains life. I'm Danielle, your host, and this is episode 33. It is October 17th. It has been just a little over 3 weeks since I last recorded. I apologize. I even had the show notes written up and everything, and I just didn't sit down and record. So I'm here now. Yay! And because that much time has passed, I have a lot to show you. A lot of FOs. It just happened like everything synced up at once. And so I have 3 FOs to show you today. I can't believe it. I got new glasses. I don't know if you can see. Let me zoom in. They're a tortoiseshell with some blue in them. Because, hey, if I have to wear them, why not be colorful? And what else has been going on? Our weather has been in and out of spring, summer, snow. So I actually have to get the sprinklers blown out, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that we don't have a hard freeze before I can get that done. Believe it or not, there's still people running their sprinklers, and you can tell who's from Texas. No offense to you Texas people, but there's a lot of military in my neighborhood. They've just recently been transferred here from Texas to Colorado Springs, and they're used to it being pretty much warm all winter long, and you can't do that here. It was 30 degrees the other morning, and I went outside and somebody was watering their lawn, and it was just freezing on the grass. And there's always overspray because people don't have their sprinklers adjusted right. And it was icing up a section of the road. So we're like, come on, people, get your sprinklers blown out already. Sorry, that's totally off topic and I should save that for the end, but okay, so I have a lot to show you. Let's get started. On the needles. These are actually things that are off my needles because I have some FOs to show. I have 3 finished objects, and let's go ahead and start with my favorite. It's the Lemongrass by Joji Locatelli. I love it. I love my version of it. I was worried I wouldn't have enough yarn. I actually have about half to 3/4, I haven't weighed it, of my last skein left. I did add extra length, and I was concerned about like if I was running out of yarn. One of my plans, if I thought I was running out of yarn, was just to shorten the neckline instead of like the 5-inch fold over ribbed collar, to just do a regular crew neck or something. Although I like the collar as designed in the lemongrass. I'm normally more of a V-neck person because I'm heavier and have a short neck. But I just love this pattern. And my ends are woven in, but it is not blocked or trimmed, and the buttons aren't on it yet. So it's finished. All the knitting is finished, but it's not finished. And look at that! Oh, weaving in ends. Got my darning needle. And of course, this neck will fold over and it'll be folded in half. I still have my markers in where I did ink decreases for my sleeves. I've got to pull them out. I did start the sleeves individually. I started one sleeve and then realized, oh no, what if I start to run out of yarn? So before I'd gone too far, I picked up for the second sleeve and eventually joined to knit 2 at a time in the round magic looping. counting my decreases to make sure I had them appropriately and appropriately placed, and periodically just trying it on to make sure it was fitting my arms. I wanted it fitted, but not too snug, because I have fat arms and I wanted it to be comfortable, but I didn't want it to be sloppy baggy. So I think I got a good compromise. That's the word. I think I got a good compromise on that. Knowing that it's wool alpaca blend, and it might stretch a bit. I love it. It looks like it's longer in back, but it's not really. It's not to that degree. It's 15 inches from the armholes on both the front and back from the armpit. So they're fairly matching. And what else did I want to say? I just have to add the buttons. It's all ready for buttons. So I need to wash and block it first, put the buttons on, and trim the ends. Yay! So this is my lemongrass. I cannot wait. The weather is turning colder, and I'm very, very excited about getting to wear this. Yeah. So that's my lemongrass. It's probably my favorite garment piece I've knitted to date. So hope I don't ruin it in blocking. When I wash it, I am washing it by itself because the yarn has ran. I end up with blue all over my fingers when I was knitting it, and I used the Blicky driftwood needles in size 10.5 to get gauged to knit it, and thank God they have that coating on the birchwood, because I got a little blue tint. So the needles kind of have a gray tinge to them anyway. Well, now it's a little blue-gray until it wears off. So I will be washing this by itself and hoping that all the extra dye comes out at that time, so I don't have to be as careful in the future. Although I normally do only wash one sweater at a time. I might throw a couple shawls in together, but I generally only do one sweater at a time. Sorry, my dog keeps running in and out. Willow is chasing sunbeams, so she's running around panting. Sorry. My second finished object is my Ley Lines shawl, also by Joji Locatelli. This one I did run out of yarn on. I had 975 yards, I think, of the mini mochi, and I was going to be cutting it close anyway. My gauge was off. I was like, it's a shawl, who cares? Apparently I should have paid better attention, because I had to alter the shape slightly to get it to work binding off with what yarn I had. I'd altered the shape from the beginning, I believe I mentioned, making section 2 a bit wider and doing more repeats so that it was growing, because it looked fairly narrow. So it grew. Yay, section 4, yay. I realized I'm not going to have enough yarn to finish the shape like it's supposed to be. So I just kind of modified section 5 to work with what I had to bind off. And to get to bind off, I ended up going through to all my yarn joinings and I'd kind of woven in ends as I went. Something like this, I would take it, cut it off, do a spit splice so that I didn't waste yarn, and work along my bind off. I had to use, I think, 4 ends spliced in to make it all the way across. But now my shape's a little wonky. It looks more like a ginkgo leaf than what it's supposed to. So narrow one end, wider, wider, wider to the other end. So this end just kind of comes to an... It's my dog chasing sunbeams. So since this isn't my favorite shawl anyway, I really liked the idea of the pattern, and some of the finished projects looked really gorgeous. But even if it were knitted exactly as written, I don't think it would be my favorite shawl. Not sure exactly how it would be worn. It is warm. I like the colors. But I'm not in love with it, so I think I'm going to make it a charity shawl. And unless I have a friend who pops up and says, I want it, I want it. So it is Christmas. Well, coming up. I know, we're not even through Halloween yet. So that's what might happen with this shawl. Sorry, I can't. I will put a picture in of the finished thing. Again, it hasn't been washed or blocked, but so far so good. My third finished object is another shawl, and this is for charity. It has been planned that way from the beginning. This is my prayer shawl that I've got 3 different yarns used in. And I actually love how it ended up being, hi, peekaboo, because it just looks like it has a border, an inner border and an outer border. The size is perfect. Great to wrap up in. I want it to feel like you're getting a hug, like you're being hugged. Literally, so that it can provide that comfort. So I'm very happy how this turned out. I'm not even going to block it because it's a garter stitch triangle shawl. What needs to be done? I am not one that stretches garter stitch out. I like it squishy. So it's already a triangle. Yay. So I have to weave it ends and it's done. Yay. Let's see. So those were my FOs. On to my whips. I have my Celestarium shawl, which I've worked a little bit on, but not much. Basically, I've been doing that sweater and that shawl. And I haven't even finished one round, so I'm not even going to show it to you. Same as last time. That's what it looks like. I do have an Orenburg lace sampler in progress. This is in my Bee Splat bag. It's Mrs. Brown's bag that I got from a friend. And needles everywhere. So Jaeger Spun Wool Silk Blend. I took a class at my LYS, not this last Saturday, but the week before, with Galina. I cannot pronounce her last name, but it'll be in the show notes. It was fundamental introduction to Orenburg lace knitting fundamentals. I think something like that. And it was awesome. A little bit of history, not a lot, because it wasn't the history of Orenburg lace knitting. It was fundamentals of basically learning the different motifs, how to knit it, how to create the square with knitting around the corners, which I think was the hardest part. And I am over my fear of two-sided lace knitting. Who knew? It's just reading the chart, which I knew to begin with, but I still had that was holding me back. Did some practicing in class, and granted, the motifs were short, like the charts were short because we were just doing a sampler, but the double row knitting, not hard. You just have to pay attention, track every row as stated. But yeah, so here it's a little bit my sampler. There's the cat's paw. I don't know if you can see that. So it starts with the small strawberry on the bottom, and then the cat's paws on top. I only did one repeat. I know, it's so hard to tell because it's not been blocked and stretched out. But I learned about proper tensioning for lace knitting, which you might call gauge. You know how to tell if your stitches are too loose or too tight, and to adjust accordingly, and so that it looks really nice and your motifs stand out. So this is what I started on. Size 2s. The size 2s were a little too big, so I went down to a 1.5. A US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter, I think. And I started knitting a lace border. Isn't that so cute? And then this here is where I've turned the corner, and it's actually like a 45-degree angle off because I've got those stitches in there already. But isn't that so pretty? And then we have the pattern. This is basically going to be a sampler, a mini square, a miniature shawl, just a small square, so we can practice knitting the borders and the corners, how the corners are worked, with practicing some motifs in the middle. Very excited about this. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but I love lace shawls. I don't wear them a lot. You know when are you gonna do it? Special occasions. But I love knitting them. I love lace yarn, lace weight yarn. And I love the pretty designs that can be created using yarn overs and knit increases and decreases, you know. Knit two together. Ta-da! It's beautiful. So I'm having fun with this. And so that was the class with Galena. And awesome. Highly recommend it. She's an excellent teacher. And she lives here in Colorado. No. Yes, she has an accent. She's totally understandable. Because, yeah, I've been in some engineering classes where you could not understand the TA at all. So I appreciate. Obviously, she's incredibly knowledgeable. She is the expert on Orenburg lace. Period. She has a quick and easy instruction style. They're there was 12 people in our class, I think, and it was just the right size for her to be able to instruct us as a group and then come through and work with us individually as needed. And she also teaches classes on spinning for lace weight yarn and plying for lace weight yarn. And why I did not have time or the money to take those classes also, I did make a purchase. So I have a little stash acquisition. I said I'd wait, but I couldn't. Skaska Designs. It's 50% merino, 50% silk. It's an 18/2, which I believe describes the weight and the number of plies. It's 126 grams and 1420 yards. And it's so beautiful green. It's not really coming up the right color. It's kind of a brighter green, more springy. Nope. Can't get it the right shade. But it's this beautiful spring green. And look at that. Just a beautifully relaxed 2-ply lace weight yarn. It's gorgeous. So I couldn't resist. And it's so squishy. Soft, shiny, squishy. It's gorgeous. A 50-50 merino silk blend is a beautiful blend. Just that extra bit of silk. Luscious. Okay, so that's my stash acquisitions. I do have some other acquisitions that I made. They are some reproduction fabrics. These are going to be used in my Joe's Little Women Quilt Club patterns. So I'm very excited about them. Look at them, some beautiful blues and browns, splashes of pinks. I'm going to go through them just real fast. Isn't that so pretty? I love that. This is a beautiful gray blue. Just a nice blue. Some brown with pink and cream. And then yes, these are different. They look so similar, but they're not. They're slightly different color and the print is different. So I couldn't pick between them, so I bought them both. So those are some reproduction fabrics that I got from my quilting class. And I know I skipped stocking and went straight to acquisitions. So what I have been stocking lately is shawls, lace shawls. And not just the Orenburg, but Shetland and Estonian and the Orenburg lace designs, hap shawls, because I have some beautiful alpaca sport weight and a 4-color gradient from cream to charcoal that I really want to put into a shawl. And I've been looking, and I'll keep looking until I find something that I absolutely fall in love with, because the yarn is worth it. So that's what I have been stocking. I have some spinning to show you. I finally got this off my wheel. This is just an Ashland. I got it from Paradise Fibers. I think it's in Ashland Bay. Just a merino silk blend, like 80/20. And it's the sage colorway, I think. And it's got some beautiful yellow and orange bursts to it, and every now and then there'll be a spot of turquoise, like that right there. Kind of blends in a little, but when I was spinning it, the next color would just pop out, and it would be so fun to spin. It just made me smile. And My end is a little more higher twist than the rest of it because I don't want it to come undone, but that's about how thick I'm planning on doing a 2-ply. And so it will look, the light goes away. About like that. Can't really tell. Heavy fingering, maybe sport. But now that that is off my wheel, I am going to switch out my regular flyer for my plying flyer, or the heavyweight flyer. I have a Lundrum, so you just pop one off, put the other one on, turn one screw, and you're done. It's not hard. That's one of the reasons I bought it. And I plan on plying the Into the World Fathom colorway, the Cheviot, that I have previously spun. Those bobbins have been sitting there for a while. So that's my spinning. Under the needle, I've got nothing other than the fabrics I showed you. As far as in the garden, nothing, and nothing in the Beeyard. Off topic. I've just been enjoying my knit-alongs. The Downseller Studio Pigskin Party with Boston Jen and the Hohi Fall knit-along, which I've completed my 2 projects that I'd signed up to do for it. So I've just been enjoying reading the comments. I don't participate much, but, other than hitting agree, disagree, love. I'm just kidding. I never hit disagree. Unless somebody's giving really bad advice. But I've just been enjoying going through the topics on Ravelry and reading the boards and following along with my knit-alongs. I have also been enjoying some of my fall beers. The seasonals are out. This is actually a spring seasonal. It is a strawberry, so it's kind of off, but yay, I love it anyway. It's a strawberry rhubarb sour ale from Great Divide Brewing Company. I don't know if you like sour beers or not. They are an acquired taste. Well, you either love them or they're an acquired taste. I happen to love them. Basically, they began when a wild yeast got into the beer vats of some brewers and threw off their recipe, and they called it a sour ale. Obviously, today they can control what yeasts they use better. So I love it when they throw out a sour ale. Also, I love strawberry rhubarb. I love rhubarb by itself. So this is kind of a tart, tangy beer. You can kind of see it's got a little pink, well, maybe not. The light is shining through it. It would show you. It's a little pink tinge to it, just from that strawberry rhubarb flavor. It's delicious and refreshing. It's also great to drink while watching football, which is what I've been doing a lot of. Not so much on Saturdays. I might catch a few of the better college games, but mostly I spend Saturdays at knit group, although I've missed the last 2 weekends. But then basically my husband and I spend all day Sunday just lounging on the couch and watching football, knitting, drinking beer. So I did win my games in fantasy football this weekend. Yay! I kicked ass and won. So that was good. My players did good. And that's about all I can say, other than go Broncos. That sucked what happened Sunday against the Giants. One game they had to win. with the cooler weather, I've been able to wear some hand knitted socks. Yay! So I got to wear my first hand knitted socks of the season. I've actually got a pair on today. Yay! Sticking my foot at you. Sorry. So happy fall, y'all. Bye.